welcome to The
The
Truth
Truth
Behind
Behind
the
the
Truth.
Truth.
So many beautiful faces today. Glad to see it, gentlemen. Everybody looking bright and the sun shining and all of the above. We got the West Coast over here. We got Sandy and me and Dylan and Parnell, and then we got to go all the way to the East Coast.
Don't say it like that.
No, I'm so glad to see everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us tonight as our viewing audience. We have a packed full show tonight. And I'm telling you, we have actor and producer and director and all that. Karon Joseph Riley, excuse me. I always get tongue-tied on that. Will be with us at some point tonight. So we're looking forward to him coming and being a part of the show tonight. It's going to be a great, great, great time.
Yeah.
Awesome. We have our brother in the house. Yes. We're so glad to see his smiley face.
It's been a long time.
I'm going to say the doctor himself, the doctor of laughter, the doctor of fun, the doctor of excitement. Sandy, I'm talking about you. Sandy, it's so good to see you. How you doing?
Yes. You're talking about me?
Uh-huh.
I don't even know why I'm here. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing going on in the world. There's nothing happening. I mean, it's just, it feels like summer to me with nothing going on.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? So much in the truth. So much. Harold, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good.
Good. Excellent. Glad to hear that. Parnell.
Oh, life is good. I'm here and alive and breathing.
Okay. Well, I hope so.
And Sandy and I don't have the same background this time.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You're moving from studio to studio.
Yeah.
That is okay. Well,
what's he doing in my house?
I know, right? Exactly. Well, that's good.
Hey, what I didn't and what we didn't mention about this month, before this month is over, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes, it is.
And I was reminded of it. I was at a wellness event earlier this week with Dr. Ewing, who's an oncologist in the Bay Area. And she was talking about breast cancer and was talking about the alarming increase in women under 40 getting breast cancer. Oh, wow. And so just wanted to highlight that, just to, acknowledge this month as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and just kind of,
make mention of that. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm glad you brought it up, because that's a I won't say sensitive area, but that affected my mom, as well. So I'm an advocate about that, and just encouraging everybody, especially even the men, because see, men don't realize is that it can happen to them, in the process of that. There was a gentleman, I think it was on Good Morning America the other day, that he had been diagnosed, and he's a professional. Well, he teaches baseball at a school, I think it's in Pennsylvania somewhere, and he had been diagnosed, so he's having to start going through treatment and everything at this point. So Good Morning America was encouraging him about having to go through it, and really speaking to men as to checking yourself. I mean, we all been blessed with breasts, okay, but they just been, hey, not as large, okay,
Beyonce's dad was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had breast cancer.
Wow. So, it's something to definitely be aware of, gentlemen. I mean, at that point, definitely. So big shout out to, to everybody making themselves aware and getting tested, as in everything. Please get that. And that, as we talked about last week, still in the men category, please, it's prostate cancer. Okay, gentlemen, please, colon and prostate cancer. Men, please get yourself checked out, okay? Because we need you around for a little while, and sad to say that, and Charles and I will we lost a dear brother this past week. Harold, you might have met him on set back in Atlanta. Parnell, you might have worked with him on Greenleaf, the possibility. But Luther Thompson, he transitioned yesterday from causes of cancer. But he had colon cancer earlier on prostate. Then went to colon, and he was came out here to get a what is it? I'm sorry, the stem cell. To get stem cell and transplanted, and then I guess where they were in Mexico, right at the border there, and he went to sleep and didn't wake up. You know, so prior to not even getting the surgery done, you know, and his wife had posted on Facebook that the trip out here was, you know, kind of rough for him, I guess, being, you know, on the plane that long or whatever, you know, coming from Atlanta. So, but yeah, he transitioned yesterday. So, you know, sending hugs and love out to his wife, Star, you know, in the process of that. So it's a serious thing. You know what I mean? Harold, I mean, you can always speak to that on a regular basis, and kudos to you, because you're a survivor, you know, and you've been through that, and you've you know, put the disciplines in place to you know, continue prevention. So take just you know, a couple minutes, you know, again, as you always do, encourage, typically since we're talking to men right now, you know, encourage them about the importance of juicing, you know, and actually I think you have a cleanse coming up too. You're starting another 10-day coming up.
Well, we're on the 9th day. We're almost finished. Tomorrow's
the finished. Okay. Yeah. Well, you know, they can start it at any time. Okay. But go ahead, speak that real quick.
I was happy and surprised that Dr. Ewing, the oncologist, really talked about the importance of nutrition in terms of health and well-being when you are dealing with a cancer diagnosis, or just in terms of prevention. So she really talked a lot about how important nutrition is to preventing cancer and just in dealing with cancer. So that's really, really important, the nutrition. And she talked a lot about the fact that stress plays a significant factor in, you know, cancer and how well people do who are actually diagnosed with cancer.
Wow, we appreciate that, definitely, because it does. It's a huge, you know, it's a huge stress factor that's there. I mean, if any family has ever gone through it, and again, I don't want to bring the show down. I mean, we're gonna light it up in just a second, but you know, about that, and just the last part of my mom's life was through colon cancer. So it you know, it's a tough situation, and to watch somebody actually go through it. You mentioned that there was a comment.
A comment from Miss Mary Lim about breast cancer awareness. She appreciated y'all talking about that because her mother had passed from that.
Wow.
So
we're sending you hugs, definitely,
Miss
Mary, definitely, and Phil definitely that in there. But anyway, let's light it up a little bit. Sandy, give us a joke.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Just set you up. Just set them up in that. Oh my goodness!
All right, a guy comes home drunk about 2:00 in the morning. As he pulls into the driveway, his wife has the front door open and she's throwing all of his stuff out. You know, his clothes are going, his golf clubs are out there, his sports stuff. You know, and he goes, "What are you doing?" She says, "You come home 2:00 in the morning. You don't even care about us anymore. It's over between us." He said, "Over between us." She says, "Yeah, I want you to have a long, miserable, terrible life." He says, "Oh, you want me to stay?"
Now that's messed up.
Oh, just terribly messed up. That is good. That is definitely good. So I'm not sure has our guest arrived. I'm waiting for our technician to say if he has arrived, and I don't think is he available yet. No, he's not. He hasn't arrived yet. Okay. So anyway, we're gonna keep on. So let's go ahead and dive on in to talk about some of our news buzz, fellas. It is a great opportunity to talk about that. You know, I know Parnell said you want to get out the way earlier, so we're gonna take 30 seconds each and talk about Kanye and move on. So that gives him a minute and a half.
Time starts.
Now, we'll let you start off with it.
Okay. Well, you know, my whole thing is I relate to him the same way I relate to T-Clown. We don't have to report on his every crazy move. You know, that was part of the. I feel that's part of the reason why T-Clown won the election, because of the incessant talk about him. You know, and you think it's going to be like, oh, people are going to see how ridiculous this is and never vote for this man, and it backfired because he was everywhere. People are like, oh my God, it appealed to folks. And my only thing with this situation with Kanye, or Ye, sorry, I don't want him being mad.
Whatever.
Is as people are, you know, as he always tries to get Black people to rally behind him. But the stuff that he really complains about is not usually anything that has to do with Black people in general. It's always about stuff that's happening to Ye, to him. And he wants us to rally behind him. It's like, no, dude, that's it. So, yeah. Next.
Oh my God! Put that in his mouth.
Balenciaga mouthpiece. It looked like.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Wow.
One of the companies that got rid of.
I guess they'll be taking that off.
But you know what? We talk about free speech in this country, and this is one thing I don't understand. I can't understand about celebrity politicians, just main figures. You know, how far can you go with free speech?
Right.
Because free speech is not. I'm just saying, people are now saying that this hate rhetoric is like you're taking away their free speech when they cannot just say blatant crazy stuff. And in the Kanye West situation, this is the situation that people like him and Trump, they have this aura of, well, they're saying what is on their mind. They're promoting free speech. And I'm saying to myself, but free speech, hate rhetoric, that doesn't match. It doesn't mix. So my issue with Kanye West is everything that's coming out of his mouth or anybody's mouth that has a form of anti-Semitism or anything that has a racism or any form of degradation towards a group of people, a gender or sexuality, that is another form of hate speech. That's true. That should not be promoted as free speech.
I agree.
And that's my issue with the situation.
I totally agree.
Free speech is not supposed to be say any damn thing. Free speech just means you can criticize the government without being thrown in prison or executed. That's what free speech means.
Thank you. And that's what it was supposed to be.
My free speech
be instituted for that when it was put in place. It was not for you to be able to say to other people like this saying. Good point, Pointer. Go ahead, Sandy.
I don't want to talk about Kanye. He's disgusting.
Okay.
and he's disgusting. Forget about what he's saying. Yeah. The guy left a beautiful woman and 4 kids. So he's failed as a man. He's failed as a father. He's failed as a friend. And so anything he says after that is pointless, because you failed in the most important things that you set out. I don't know if you set out to do them, but you have a beautiful wife that a lot of men would covet, and she's got 50 million followers, and she's done well for herself. You impregnated her 4 times. You have 4 kids, and you want to be mad at her when you're off on the road, jumping on other women, and you want to get mad at your wife. So he's a piece of garbage.
Gotcha. Harold?
Well, I was done with what is it, Ye? When you made the comment, last year, I think it was, that slavery was a choice. So
okay.
That's true.
That's all.
Gotcha. Right. Well, yeah, and I think the thing is, and we'll move on after this little quick point. I think that what we have to give him room for, only just a little bit of room, is that there's some mental illness going on. And then I think these are acts for attention, but not the right attention to help him overcome the mental illness that's there, because he's been dealing with mental illness for some time since his mom died, and then the tragic event that was around that. I don't know if you know about that Harold, when she died, she went to have plastic surgery, right, and she died on the table, from that. So that probably has been a devastating point for him. And then, of course, as you pointed out, Sandy, I mean, a devastatingly beautiful wife that has been the queen of cosmetic surgery, at the end of the day. So, I mean, it could be a combination of things. Trauma, seeing that, all these other types of things, and not being able to balance it out, running to God to create this other thing. And, so the guy is just unbalanced. And I think that really at the end of the day, he just needs to seek help. And for all of these things, and put these things on the table, and
he has the means to do it, and he has the means to do it. If he wanted to. And like one of our guests said, that's rich people's problems. I mean, he got no real problems. I'm like, whatever. I mean, and I think I certainly had empathy, having lost my mom, and I get that trauma and how that feels. But I mean, you can't, just use that as an excuse for the rest of your life. I mean,
well, yeah, and true. I mean, I think that the last thing, and I'll say this, is that you have to accept that you need the help in order to be able to get the help. Okay, I know, right?
Relevant, Your Honor. I'm like, relevance.
Right.
I know, right? That was so random.
I know, right?
I had to laugh at it.
But anyway, let's go ahead and move on before we go to a quick break. Get this other.
Speaking on some other free speech situation, Elon Musk, he purchased Twitter for $44 billion, and he's promoting free speech on that platform. And because of that, he has fired half of his staff, which were the censor board. And he's saying he's hiring more diverse people for that. And also, because of his takeover, there has been a surge in the N-word. And because there's been a surge in the N-word, LeBron James had responded, said, I don't know who Elon Musk is, and I could care less who owns Twitter. But I would say that if this is true, I hope he and his people take this very seriously, because this is scary as hell. So many damn unfit people saying hate speech is free speech. So
wow.
LeBron said he didn't know who. Wait, LeBron said he didn't know who Elon.
He didn't know who Elon Musk was.
Wow. Well, I mean, that kind of centers around basically where we started out the conversation tonight. And I mean, hey, as I don't know.
It doesn't surprise me that this man is standing on this platform, being raised during the South African apartheid, being raised in that type of system of living, and then have that mindset of feeling that he has the right, or he's giving people the right to say what he. But you know what? That's the
we got to go to break. We'll get back on that.
All right, guys, we'll be right back after this quick break.
All right.
Call 844-55-STARZ. It's Junk Stars, baby.
Hey, my name is Thurston, and here I have my CEO, son Langston. We specialize in junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition. So if you need junk removed,
call Junk Stars.
You need dumpster rentals,
call Junk Stars.
Hello. All right, and we're back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the Truth Behind the Truth tonight with our wonderful guest at the table. Our guest co-host tonight, our brother Sandy Hackett, is joining us tonight for all this wonderful conversation that we have going on. Do want to mention to you guys, please go to our website, check it out, truthbehindthetruthproductions.com. And just a quick update. So our special guest will not be joining us this evening. So we will maybe able to reschedule him at another time. But hey, guess what? You know what? As they say in show business, the show must go on. All right. So anyway, let's dig into what else we're going to talk about tonight. You had some.
I was just saying, I'm not surprised about the Elon Musk situation, knowing what I know of his background, being raised during the apartheid, and knowing the situation with that, and then having that mindset, and then on top of that, being raised in a society that was and in some form is still based in that sentiment, and bringing that over here and then bringing that over towards Twitter. I'm not surprised. I'm just not surprised. And it's a misfortune, but at the end of the day, that's what happens when people have a platform and then have money along with that.
It makes it absolutely good. Well, we'll move on from there.
Let's go into Herschel Walker, who we now know who now has found out that he is now because of his background. He's a quarter Korean and a hint of Caucasian and half of a Hakkapacha Indian. He put that on the campaign. I didn't say that. He said that.
Okay, so I can say that. Let me say. So then I'm going to put it all against all a hot mess. Okay.
No. Now, see, I didn't listen. I just report what he said. I didn't say all of that.
All in that is all a hot
But
mess.
all black people are a hodgepodge of all.
Right. I'm just like, and
what was the point of him?
But say that again, Harold. I can find you in there. But let's go into the real news. He said that he is not a celebrity politician. So Obama was in Atlanta, and he claims, or he has called Herschel Walker a celebrity politician, and has told the folks that we have made this mistake before by electing a celebrity president. Mm-hmm. Now, this is his reaction back to that statement. He says, I am not a politician, I'm a warrior for God. And that he is praying on Obama to make the right decision. That means getting away from the Democratic Party. So you know what? Like I say, Herschel Walker is a
Sandy, you can take this.
He's a liar is what he is. And he is a celebrity because when he came out of college, he was one of the great football players of all time. He kept the USFL because he went to the USFL and had a relationship with Trump. And took his money. He was a celebrity and is a celebrity, but it's been a lot of years since he played football. So he was a great football player, but he doesn't know anything about politics. He's not a particularly bright human being. Right. He's, all the things that he wants to profess that this woman comes out and says, I had an abortion. Here's the check. Here's the voicemails from him. Here's the texts from him, and he goes, "She's a liar." And I go, "Come on, who's the liar here, Herschel? You're an asshole." Am I allowed to say that here? I don't know.
Absolutely.
He doesn't belong in politics. We've got a guy, Raphael Warnock, who, no matter what your politics are, at least he's been, more open and honest about who he is and what he's done, and he doesn't sit there, lying about every moment. And then another woman's come out today. It's just terrible. He is a celebrity, and Obama's right. Obama is way smarter than Herschel Walker will ever be in his life. And Walker is a puppet, and he's a Trump puppet at the moment. And he's the worst thing in the world for Georgia. And if he wins somehow, then the people of Georgia are morons to take a guy that has no credibility whatsoever and put him into office and let them represent him.
Just to maintain power.
Go ahead, Aparna.
No, I'm just saying that it's like the Republican Party backs anybody just as long as they toe the party line. Don't care about their moral character or their qualifications for the job, just as long as they can say a Republican is in office and they can control the Senate and enact their version of what America should be. And that's just really a sad state of affairs.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, in that aspect, the one thing I like to piggyback off of what Sandy said, the way I see Herschel Walker at this particular point, we've given his high points when, earlier shows that we've done. But when I see him, I see another, just a black version of Trump. Honestly, realistically, that's why I say, because it's funny, everything that Trump denied that he didn't do with women and it's the same pattern with Herschel Walker. So I'm sure that their private council meetings and say, well, you know what? They'll accept you anyway. You can grab a woman by her putanani and then you'll get away with it. You could do all of these other type of things. Because guess what? I got away with it. So let's throw it out to make it part of your platform. They'll accept you, and keep it moving. Go ahead, Harold. Mm-hmm.
Well, I was kind of done with him, when he pulled out his badge at the debate.
Oh yeah, and you being a part of the police force, in California at the time when you were, then, and so I mean, the jackass was lying. Jackass 1 and Jackass 2 now. At the end of the day,
how's he polling?
He's tight. The race is tight in Georgia. It's an early surge in early voting right now, but it's not the end. The end hasn't came yet, but the race is very tight. It's close. It's very.
When
close.
I see that it's close, I'm like, how?
Thank you.
How in real life is this even a close contest?
Well,
go ahead, Sandy. You were saying.
No, I agree. How could it be close? How can something be coming out daily about this guy that's just anti-morality, who he is, anti-representative? You know, it's not like there's a white and black issue here. He's running against another black man who's a minister, who's been in office, who's represented the people of Georgia to the best of his ability. And his track record isn't perfect as a human being, but he's owned up to it. And I go, okay, so you're going to put this guy against that guy. And I go, what are you voting for?
Tribalism.
And look, and I want to say something else, because this Michael Moore, who years ago, and you know who Michael Moore is?
Yeah.
You know, he was the one who said, look, like it or not, and I'm a Democrat, a diehard Democrat, Michael Moore said, he said, Trump is going to win this thing in 2016. And he was correct. And now he said, look, there's a blue wave coming. Forget the polls. Stop listening to these people that are telling you it is a blue wave coming like we haven't seen. And I hope he's right.
Right. Yes.
And I hope these polls that they want to give us in Georgia that say that Herschel's close or he might be up by a point are just absolute fantasy, and he gets trampled on by the people of Georgia who go, no, that's not who I want to represent me. And I hope Michael Moore is right. And these election deniers and liars that just want to pretend that, you know, Trump is right and that this election was stolen from him. We have to stop. We need some truth, but there's no truth out there.
Right. My thing within the American culture is, are we looking for a demagogue or something? Probably. Are we wanting demagoguery in our political force? Because I see people talk about democracy like it will last forever, but we all know through history that there's always a situation where there's a political uprising that happens. People come with a new form of ideas, new form of thinking, then things disappear. That means all a different form of democracies, autocracies, totalitarian. I think in America, we have dropped the ball in education when it comes down to knowing what makes this country worse, what kept this country going for a long time, even with this ills and craziness. We have dropped the ball of what voting is supposed to mean to a culture, to a country. Right. And the saddest thing about working class people, especially down south, because I've been raised down south. I lived in Alabama since up until the age of 25. There's a thing called tribalism. You say, why would they vote for somebody like Herschel Walker? Well, why would they have voted for somebody like Governor Wallace? Yeah. Why would they have voted for Ron DeSantis? Because there's a mindset that says economically, why are there people of color, different types of people who are coming over the border making more money than me? I can't find a job. There's got to be some situation where I got to keep somebody at base so I can rise and they can stay where they need to. There's that mindset, and somebody has to do the work. Right. And Trump was, in his own little way, doing the work. Mm-hmm. And you got a lot of people who fell for the okie doke because they were, in their own way, think they were making a lot of money. There is a tribalism in our country that needs to be destroyed, but it won't be destroyed unless working class people come together, all races, all religions, and say, listen, I can't pay my rent. I can't afford groceries. So we gonna, as the working class people of America, have to realize we got to vote with our own conscience, not what somebody's telling what we need to do in our own house and with our own bodies. That's the problem. Somebody wants a demagoguery over them, and that's the problem. I'm just saying. No.
Right. Herschel Walker should say, look, I can't afford abortions anymore. I need better health care, so we should vote for Democrats.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, see, that's like,
yes.
You know, the good thing about, at least with the Democratic Party, is smart enough to do it. Generally speaking, if any of our candidates were doing any of these things, we would kick them out of the race. What's Mr. Stiff? People don't care about a demagogue. They get so traveled, they will support anyone who, exactly. As long as, like, this is why I say, but Van Jones called it correctly in the 2016, said this election of Donald Trump was the white lash against Barack Obama. It was like, as long as it's white, that's who I want in office. And that's what happened when we look at what I think over half of all white men in the country voted for Trump. Over half of all white women in the country voted for Trump. That says something. Said, you're going to vote for this?
Right.
Really?
Or did they vote?
No, they voted. And that was the whole thing. You know, people tried to blame it on Black folks. Oh, you didn't come out for Hillary like you came out for Obama. There was a slight difference. And I have to say this, even if every Black person in this country alive, from babies to 75, voted for Hillary Clinton, there's not enough number. We don't have the numbers to have affected that. If 50% of white women voted for Trump, we're knocked out. We're knocked out. We couldn't have done anything about that.
Right.
And that's just that demographic. So don't blame us. We didn't have nothing to do with that.
Right.
we still came out and we voted for Hillary Clinton to be. So if you want to be mad at somebody, well, be mad at white women in particular.
Right.
Because that was the whole thing. Is like, this is the man who was talking about you can just go around and grab him by the pussy. I'm gonna say it because he said it.
Right.
And everybody, and what did you have? You had white women at rallies with T-shirts. Trump can grab my pussy.
Right, you did. You sure did. That's true. That's so true.
I mean, it makes sense.
It's demagoguery.
Right. What it is just complete idiocy.
I mean, demagoguery.
And like you said earlier, it gave these people that were in the backwoods, so to speak, the opportunity to come forward and say, to speak about things, because they felt like this man was going to support everything that they did, and that's why they did. That's exactly what they do. We're going to go to a quick break. We're going to pick this back up. We got a lot more to talk about tonight on The Truth Behind the Truth. See you guys in a second.
Levi, you know the sentence for treason.
While health officials try to figure out whether pets can carry or spread this new virus.
I saw something that could end us all if we don't stand together and fight.
You released a substance that was chemically unstable but hadn't been tested yet.
It was put to good use.
What if I told you I could get you back something that you really wanted? What would you do?
Be worried about all of our survival.
The Silver Five, they're not strong enough, nor do they have enough to defeat us.
You think you're free, but you're not. Everything has a cost.
We're too far out here, okay? We could be surrounded by daggers at any moment now. He will kill you if he finds out.
You speak when I tell you to speak.
That was easy.
The longer we stay here, the more will come.
More than 500 new cases reported today, and nearly 10,000 in quarantine.
All right, and we're back, guys. I have to mention about the takeover. I think it's the last opportunity we'll be able to get to show it, but it is slated to hit two film festivals. So it's already been already at one, and I'm really excited because I had the opportunity to be in this film with everyone else. I get killed. what the hell? Everybody gets killed every now and then,
Die well, die well.
I'm excited about it because I got to be the doppelganger in the film, and I got tortured and all this other good stuff. But it was actually a really good moment in film for me. It really was, and I'm looking forward to part 2 getting done at some point, in the very near future. And this actually going to Prime Video, so we're really excited about that. But anyway, you wanted to wrap it up real quick. Did anybody have anything else to say about the second idiot that's trying to get in Congress, Herschel Walker? Everybody want to finish that? We got to move on.
Not about Herschel Walker, but I also want to say this too. It's getting, the midterms are coming. Now, I would say this for those who don't vote, you better get out there and vote, because your freedom is on the. And I'm just saying that to be honest, because we already know that if your voice is not heard, then you shouldn't complain too much. And I don't understand, and this is me just going on a rant. I don't understand how anybody could live in a country and not participate in their civic duty. But I'm telling you, y'all, this is a very serious situation right now, and it's time to make your voice count. That's all I want to say about it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. At one point, I wanted to make a shift to the entertainment real quick. I know you got some things you want to mention about entertainment. I do want to mention to everybody about going to see the movie Till. All right. That was released yesterday, 28th. Was it 20? Yeah, yesterday. Yesterday. It was released yesterday. It's a better take on the Emmett Till story from what I understand. We haven't seen it yet, and hopefully we'll be able to speak about it in a couple of shows in the very near future. But it's amazing how this is coming out at this time. And with the focus being in that particular region of the South, and whatever the case would be that it is. But I just do want to say that everyone should go and support this particular film. I know Whoopi put a lot of money behind it and getting it done. One of the things that the director and one of the other producers said that they wanted to celebrate more of the strengths that his mother endured, during the process of this, rather than showing such of the agony, even though the agony is very, very, very important about the story, but how she was so pulled herself to a point to rally actually the start of the civil rights movement. And it's kind of apropos of what we're talking about right now, at the end of the day with voting and things like that. Because if it wasn't for Emmett Till, and what happened to him, the disgraceful thing that happened to him, the process of the civil rights movement and all of the things that followed thereafter probably would not have taken place, So I always have to put a positive spin on a very negative situation. He was the sacrificial lamb that was used to become an angel to pull a group of people together for a constant movement, and I'm saying constant movement, at the end of the day. But anyway, go ahead and another point you had.
But just, and to add to that, because of the rise of anti-Semitism and racism and some form of misogyny, that itself, that film is needed to be shown because it's too much of that is going on. And Sandy, did you want to say anything on that? Because I know it's been all over the news about the signs in California and the situation that's going on in La Brea, and then there was a situation that happened out there in Jacksonville, Florida today. People are it's just the anti-Semitism is just ridiculous right now. Do you want to say anything on that, or
Well, let's go back to Till just for a moment, because when you say it's amazing that it's coming out now, it's planned to come out now. It's planned to come out right before the election, so that maybe it'll garner an audience that will make them think, either drive them to vote or make them think about what they're voting. And we can talk about all these individual things, Kanye and Herschel and stuff like that. But the problem is there's the big picture, and the big picture is abortion. And the legislation in states like Alabama, Georgia, that are trying to take away the rights of people to vote, especially Black voters.
Right.
And they are doing this through gerrymandering and misrepresenting them and finding a way. No, you can't give them water in line. No, you can't vote on the weekend. No, you can't vote here. No, the polls are closing earlier. They're going to start later. They're doing everything they can to keep the Black person from voting and anybody else. So those are the big issues that permeate everything that you want to talk about on a microcosm of a Herschel Walker, of this this dickhead in Pennsylvania who's might as well just put a Nazi uniform on. He's racist. He's anti-Semitic. He's he's misogynist. I mean, he's the worst piece of shit there is. And you know, this guy doesn't deserve to be an American, let alone be allowed to run for office.
Yes.
So we have to tell the people out there that are out there is say your vote wherever you are, whatever city, whatever state you're in, you are voting, if you are a woman, for your right to have an abortion, for your right to health care in the event of a mother that you get pregnant and have an ectopic pregnancy. And this crap about, oh, well, I'm for the rights of the baby. We're all for the rights of the baby, even those of us that are in favor of abortion. I'm not in favor of abortion because I think that's what you should go out and get laid and then say, oh, fuck it, I screwed up.
Right.
I'm getting an abortion. You're fine. You know, have some responsibility, but in the event that you were raped, or the event that there was incest, or the event that there was a crime committed, or the event that you're the mother. I mean, how many guys are married, have get their wife gets pregnant, and now they have to choose? Well, sir, we can save your wife, or maybe the baby. Well, I got 20 years in, or I got 2 years, 3 years, 5 years in with my wife. This Ethan, I can try again.
Yeah.
But and the Republicans want to tell you not only do you have to have the baby, but there's no money to fund it. We're going to tell you what you have to do.
Right.
So there are much bigger issues, and talking about all these little things in this little state, Herschel and Kanye and stuff like that. These are the microcosms of the big picture. And the big picture is what important. That's what we have to care about. That's what we have to get across to the voters. If you're out there, it's not just vote. Pay attention to what the fuck is going on in your state, your city. Understand that if you don't make a choice, if you are that, oh, I don't vote. Fuck you if you don't vote. Get involved. Get out there. Do something. Make a decision. Take care of yourself. Understand that they don't want you to vote. They don't want to give you extra money. They want to take away your health care. They want to make sure your drugs are more expensive. They want to fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And they want you to bend over and take it and say, thank you, sir.
Without grease.
No grease. No drinks or dinner, not a movie.
Flowers.
I can say real quick, pardon, I know you got a point. I can say, thank you for tuning in to Troop Down the Troop. We will see you next week. Go ahead with your point, Parnell.
No, I was just echoing with Sandy. It is a thing, because I say that all the time. Like, listen, if you don't vote, you can't say shit about what happens afterwards, because that was your opportunity to make your desires or your wishes known. And if you don't vote, it's like, well, you don't care enough. You just want to complain. It's like with any situation. It's like, okay, are you just going to complain, or do you have a solution?
Right.
Like we could complain about a whole lot. Like, well, I'm complaining about this. Okay, and what is your solution? I just wanted to complain. Okay, now you've done that. Get out of the way, and let those of us who are actually going to be involved in trying to make the situation better get involved in that.
And you know who's a superhero in all this? Stacey Abrams.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
She has turned out the vote. She has educated people. She has gone to places where people never vote, registered them, gone out. She's the one that got Warnock. The reason we've got as much done as we have in Congress is because she got Warnock and what's his name?
Buttigieg?
No. From Georgia, the other senator.
I know you're talking about, though, but I keep forgetting his name as well. But I know you're talking about.
And I don't know if she's going to win governor, and she should. She's well spoken. She understands what she's doing. But the only reason she won't win governor is because the guy in Georgia, he stood up to Trump. So he said, hey, look, the election was fair here. It wasn't rigged, and we're not putting up with your shit, Trump. But he's still a Republican and still anti-abortion and stuff like that. But if she wins and it's going to come down to the wire, it could be close. She might pull this out. But my God, she has educated America, Black America, Georgia, and gotten the vote out there. And for 2 years, we had 2 Democratic senators from that state that changed the landscape in this country in a way they wouldn't have if not for Stacey Abrams.
She needs to run for president. I would vote for her if she runs for president, because to be honest with you, I don't think she needs to be a governor. I think, you know what? I feel like, honestly, she could just take over the world regardless of what she's doing, because she just has a plan.
Right.
She has a goal.
Yes.
Which some of these politicians, they be in there since my grandma was born. They never had a goal or a foundation to stand on.
They had a goal. They had to go to stay where they were. That's all they've done. They stay right there for the whole entire time. They had a goal. You know,
like I was saying last week,
they accomplished that goal over
term limits.
Go ahead, here. I know you had a point. Go ahead, make.
No, I was just going to say it's so unfortunate. I was looking at the polls for the governor in Georgia, and she's behind 10 points. But when you hear them talk, Kemp versus her, I mean, there's no comparison. I mean, she is articulate. She has a plan. She's very focused, and he's all over the place. And so it's unfortunate that people don't vote based on qualifications and plans. They boast upon, who they like likability.
Well, yeah, exactly. I was going to say, so voting is getting to be like American Idol, okay?
We already know that's been corrupt.
It's getting to be like American Idol. No. The people in American Idol can't sing.
Yeah,
okay.
Basically.
They don't know. They couldn't carry a tune in a bucket and a bag at the same time with water in it. All right, they couldn't do it, but yet still somehow they become the national spokesperson for American Idol, and they can't sing. Same difference.
Did you guys see Stacey on TikTok dancing? She was getting her groove on. I was like, look at Stacey.
But seriously, and Sandy, thank you so much for articulating that. I mean, because that honest and gut point that you mentioned is what people need to say here, And I will. They know me. I say it on the show a lot of times. I said what I told Trump people a lot of time: wake the fuck up. I'm serious. Wake up. I mean, at the end of the day, but they're not going to do it.
Some people don't want to wake up.
I know, because that comes into responsibility, and they don't want that responsibility, And when anything goes wrong, whatever it is, if it goes wrong, they can blame back, and they can blame, and not take responsibility. But I'm so glad, Sandy, again, hey, man, if you were here, I'd give you a big hug, a big bear hug for that, because it takes ownership, really, it does. It takes ownership to step up and say that, and this is one of the things that we focus in on is that authenticity on here on the Truth Behind the Truth. Is that type of authenticity, because this is the message that people need to hear. We're talking about different things tonight. We've been focusing a lot around politics, but that's what you need to hear, because that's the climate of where we are right now. And it is. And from California to Georgia to Michigan, wherever, y'all got problems going on. We all got problems going on. We need to address things right here in California. At the end of the day, we were okay, but we're not that okay. There's somebody else brewing behind, as we well know, the situation with city council, and I'm so ashamed of those individuals in city council. We talked about in the previous show that they did what they did. I'm ashamed, to be finally elevated into a group and not considered to be so marginalized, and to take on that light, like you have arrived, and then everybody else, you step on everybody else because you thought that you arrived, and then in your arrival, somebody taped to that. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna move on.
But based on what you were talking about American Idol, let's talk about this crazy topic. Chris Jackson went over there to the UK, and he had an interview with Good Morning Britain, and they talked.
Go ahead.
And they talked about the fact that they now have claimed, Britain's Rolling Stone has called Harry Styles the new king of pop.
Oh, wow.
Now, that is...
I know we got to go to a break.
Let's go to a break so we can discuss more on it, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yes, we'll be right back after this break, guys.
Touch the ground.
All right, and we're back. Thank you guys again for tuning in to The Truth Behind the Truth. Do want to remind you to go to our website, thetruthbehindthetruthproductions.com. Keep in touch with us. Let you know where you can find us, who our guests are. Speaking of guests, oh my God, next week. Sandy, if you're free next week, we'd love to have you come back. But, your girl will be with us next week. The wonderful Miss Coco Brown will be back with us next week. Our November set. Yes. I mean,
I would love to come back next week because we're a week before the election. And Dylan, no disrespect to this Harry Styles story, but there's a lot going on in the world that's really important. Whatever Harry Styles is, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't give a shit. They tried to kill Nancy Pelosi today. They tried to kill Nancy Pelosi. They attacked her husband, an 80-year-old man. He hit him with a hammer. And all the Republicans out there, the ones that follow Trump, are saying, if I lose, then this was fixed. So what if you win? Then what?
Right.
If I win, what was it? It was okay? Somehow it was okay if you win. So that's where we are now as a country. If I lose, it was fixed. But if I win, that's good. And that's bullshit. Tell these people that's bullshit. And this example today of this guy going into Nancy Pelosi's home and going after the husband and saying, we're going to wait here till Nancy gets here. This is the beginning of civil war. This is where we're headed if this election doesn't go the way those physical manifestations, shots fired, murder, people hurt, and stuff like that. We are getting ugly. And we, on the other side, are going to have to protect ourselves from that because this is going to be out there. Because if this blue wave comes and if this red wave comes, we're not going to put up with this shit.
Right.
And someone like Clarence Thomas, I mean, Harry Styles, that'd be great if there was nothing going on in the world and we could talk about stupid shit like that about who's the king of pop. But Clarence Thomas is out there telling, and his wife testified, we don't talk about what's going on. You
liar.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We're adults here. You're going to sit there and tell us, I had no idea. And Clarence Thomas is an embarrassment. He should have, he's not going to step down, but he should at least say, look, I'm going to recuse myself from some of these arguments where my wife had an opinion and a voice and I pretended like I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Right.
My thing is with that is that how we see this in real time, but what I sometimes don't understand is what is covering up the reality from the fact that this is happening in our world. Why are we so immune to just walking away and covering our face and say, well, I don't want to see it. I don't want to deal with it. I got too much going on my plate. If this is going on, so what is it going to take for us to wake up? Is it going to take Putin to come over here and just attack us? I wonder.
But I mean,
I wonder that sometimes.
And it's funny. I mean, this is such a mixed bag of different things.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, and again, thank you for taking the pieces out of that bag, saying and wanting to talk to them. We're definitely going to continue, that mode. But it seems like that people have just lost their damn mind, especially when the they don't want to. It's not want to blaming COVID because that's another thing. But it seems like that they lost their mind in the 2 years that they had to spend time with themselves. I mean, really, just to kind of make a real shift. I don't know as anybody have been aware of it today, but there was an extreme mass shooting today in Korea. I mean,
it was a crowd surge.
Yeah, crowd surge.
Surge.
Yeah, there were
45 people Paris.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and we're talking about all of the events that are going on. I mean, it's kind of a makeup of what's going on to humanity at this. I mean, they're celebrating their idea of Halloween, and also somebody comes in with a gun and starts tragedy there. I mean, there's such a mixed bag of shit really that's going on with humanity. So as we kind of segue to as we bring it into a house until next week, Sandy, kind of work with us here and you give us your point on what you think that we need to do as humanity and start building this bridge that seems impossible sometime of what we hear every day.
I'm going to tell you very simply, and I didn't know myself the answer to your question until a few weeks ago. My son graduated school in New York. He decided to live there. So I went to visit him for a week. And I've been to New York many, many times. But as I walked around, I saw people from all walks of life, every color, every creed. I saw the people that were walking on the street talking to themselves, white, black, brown, green, purple, yellow. And I went, because they were all there in New York on top of one another. What they've done is figured out a way to coexist.
Yes.
But when you take a white community and it's all white and a black person comes in, they go, oh, well, we can't coexist with that because that's not what we know. And so the white people are afraid of the black people, so they want to keep them from voting. They want to put them down. They want to pretend that they're not as bright or not as talented or not as anything. And that's all horseshit, because honestly, most of our athletes are black and incredibly talented. Most of our, so much of our musicians are also black. The black brings so much into our country. And even though there's less black than there is white at the moment, although it's changing, we go in New York, when you're all together, you go, you know what? We're all in the subway. So who am I going to hate? Everybody in here that isn't me? There's a lot of everybody. I just got to go, oh, excuse me, pardon me. Hi, how you doing, man? Say hello and go, you know what? They want to work. They want to earn a living. They want to be married. They want to have kids. They want to raise a family. They want to get laid. They want to make a good income. They want to have health care. They don't want to die from fucking disease and stuff like that. They don't want to pay a fortune for their drugs. They just want to be human like everybody else and coexist in the world. So why can't we all, Rodney King, why can't we all get along? What do we have?
That was my point today. I had a conversation with a couple people at the store, and I just said basically the same thing that you had, and we don't have time for me to get into the details about how I put it together, but it's still framed exactly about the way you mentioned that, because if we don't find a way to exist together, then we are doomed, at the end of the day. I mean, we truly are, and we've got to figure that out. And I think that, again, with a show like ours, okay, at the end of the day, this open, honest conversation, I know that today, the five of these of us, it started a thing in motion of allowing the truth behind the truth to be in existence in humanity. I do want to take a quick mention before we go. Dear, I had always hoped that I'd get the chance to work with this gentleman, but I didn't. But to share a great light, and a great light has gone dim in Hollywood again. With somebody that had, we don't know at this point what a medical, event situation happened with them that lost, that transitioned them today. But I want to mention about Leslie Jordan. The guy just, he found a way to make people laugh. You know what I'm saying? And from a good point, from a pure and honest place, very humorous. And I mean, of course, Rose Star, of course, Will Grace, and all these other different shows that he's been on. But I want to
James Corden.
Exactly. Yeah. But I do want to pay a little homage to him, at the end of the day, because I had always hoped that I would get an opportunity. I know Parnell said he wanted to, I had an opportunity to work with him as well, as actors. And there are people out there that you do. So as we close, I do want to pay a little quick homage. I don't know if we have a picture to put up with him or not, but I'd like to do that real quick if our engineer can. But I do want to tell everybody, thank you for tuning in to The Truth Behind the Truth tonight. It has been one more powerful show. What I do love about the connection that we have. And Sandy, thank you so much for taking the time
Thanks,
out today, being with us, because as I told you from the first day you step foot to the table, you're always welcome at the table.
Happy to be here.
Yes, sir. And we look forward to having you back, as you said, next week, because our wonderful guest will be Miss Coco Brown. Oh man, I'm like, hey, she gonna keep everybody laughing. That's her job in life. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to The Truth Behind the Truth. Have a powerful night. Good night.
Both.